Picture this. Britain, late 20th century. A weekday morning, the rush hour begins, and nothing moves. Trains don't arrive, buses never come. Deliveries stop at the edge of the cities. Millions wake up ready for work, school, hospitals, and realize the country they depend on has frozen. By lunchtime, Britain understands something deeply unsettling. It hasn't stopped living. It has stopped moving. Britain was not a quiet country. It was an industrial machine, built on movement. Every morning, millions left their homes at the same time. Factories opened, offices filled, hospitals changed shifts. None of it worked without transport. Food didn't appear in shops. Medicine didn't reach hospitals. Workers didn't reach machines. Everything moved, or everything stopped. This was Britain in the mid-20th century. Before remote work, before digital systems, before backups. A country designed for motion, not for waiting, not for stillness, and certainly not for a day when nothing moved. This didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen by accident. It was Britain in the early 1970s, an industrial country running on tight schedules, and even tighter margins. Transport workers were already stretched. Fuel supplies were fragile. Weather delays stacked on top of labor shortages. Then, one link failed. A strike, a shortage, a decision made too late. Trains stopped running. Buses were pulled off routes. Lorries never left depots. And because everything depended on everything else. When transport failed, the country followed. This wasn't a political story. It was a mechanical one. Too many systems. No room for delay. Morning came as usual. Alarm clocks rang. Lights turned on. People left their homes. And then they stopped. Station doors were shut. Departure boards showed blank lines. Platforms filled, but nothing arrived. At first, people waited. They checked their watches. They checked the boards again. Then the announcement started. Delayed. Cancelled. Suspended until further notice. Queues grew longer. Tempers stayed quiet, but tight. By mid-morning, the truth spread faster than any train ever could. Nothing was coming. Not today. Not soon. Britain wasn't running late. It wasn't running at all. London felt it first. Office towers filled, but half the desks stayed empty. Factories opened late. Some never opened at all. In industrial cities, shift changes collapsed. Workers were ready, machines were not. Ports slowed to a crawl. Containers waited. Drivers didn't arrive. Hospitals kept running, but only just. Staff walked for hours. Ambulances were rerouted. Every mile mattered. By evening, the effects multiplied. Rubbish stayed on pavements. Food deliveries missed their windows. Fuel sat where it was. Useless. The country hadn't stopped functioning, but its cities had lost their rhythm. And once a city loses its rhythm, everything feels wrong. No sirens, no panic, just people trying to get somewhere and realizing they couldn't. Some walked for hours, across cities they'd never crossed on foot before. Office workers, nurses, factory hands. Shoes wore through. Bags got heavier. At stations, people slept on cold floors, not waiting for a train, but because there was nowhere else to go. Others turned back halfway, not defeated, just exhausted. There were no riots, no scenes of chaos, only queues of people moving slowly, learning how far home really was. By midday, the government stepped in. Emergency meetings, crisis rooms, orders issued faster than the system could respond. The army was placed on standby. Fuel was rationed. Essential routes were prioritized. Hospitals, power stations, food depots. But Britain's transport network wasn't built for manual control. You can deploy soldiers, you can redirect fuel, you can give orders, but you can't replace millions of daily movements overnight. Every decision solved one problem and created three more. Britain wasn't panicking, it was straining, and the system was showing just how fragile motion really was. Late that day, something finally changes. A single train moves, slow, careful, almost uncertain. Not a return to normal, just proof that movement is possible again. Limited routes reopen, only essentials, only priority workers. Cities don't rush back to life, they hesitate. Platforms fill, but quietly. People speak less, they watch the tracks. Because everyone understands now, nothing snapped back. Nothing was fixed. Britain didn't restart, it crawled forward. And even then, everything felt fragile, like the country was holding its breath. We like to think collapse is loud, explosions, sirens, panic. But modern countries don't break that way. They slow down. Today, cities don't store food for weeks. Hospitals don't stock endless supplies. Businesses don't wait for late deliveries. Everything arrives just in time. Remove movement and shelves empty. Shifts don't start. Systems quietly fail. No enemy, no disaster movie moment, just delays, stacking on top of delays. What happened then wasn't a historical anomaly, it was a preview, because the more efficient a country becomes, the less stillness it can survive. Britain survived, not because it was strong, but because people adapted faster than systems did. The country didn't collapse, it paused. And in that pause, something became clear. A nation doesn't need explosions to fail. It doesn't need enemies at the gates. Sometimes, all it needs is nowhere to go. And the next time, it wasn't transport that failed.